Hey, what's up, everyone? Nickolas, Wildstar candidate for California governor, aka Governor Wildstar, here with Heidi and George of the band members of what is it? Band members of California?
California's social equity
County Regulation Watch.
Yeah,
exactly. Has everything to do with what's going on with our government, their corruption, and of course, how it's restricting people of the community from doing what we need to do best, which is improve our neighborhoods, right? We, of course, have officials out there that tie our hands in that process. But the best way to know that is hearing from people themselves that are actually involved in those industries. So I invited these two people here to speak about those issues more in detail. And of course, ask me any questions since I am running for governor of California. Hopefully I can provide some solutions for you, being a potential, representative if indeed I were to get elected. So I'll leave it up to you guys. We do have comments and questions that are going to pop up on the screen during the broadcast. You're welcome to incorporate them into the conversation or not if you like. But I'll let you guys pretty much, take it from here.
Well, hi everyone. Good to meet you. First time I met you, Heidi. It's very nice to see you through camera or even. Yeah, I know I haven't seen you in a while. I hope everything's going good with you guys up there, and I'm actually in support of you. I'm supportive of anyone that's trying to do something different other than the actual status quo. We do need a lot of improvement in a lot of our, different areas of the state, and cannabis is just one of them. That's actually that's very broken. From where it started, where it is, and where it's going. It's completely different thing, and it's okay to evolve. I'm not saying you can't evolve or anything. People should evolve, industries and things should evolve, but we shouldn't be throwing people under the bus altogether, getting rid of a whole bunch of people.
Yeah,
kind of what the state is doing right now, and bringing a whole brand new breed of cannabis entrepreneurs into the program. And again, I have no issues with big entrepreneurships. This is one of the reasons why I'm kind of against what's going on, is because it's really un-American. It's not in the best entrepreneurial spirit of America to limit permits and have people jump through all kinds of different ridiculous hoops to be able to get in, some kind of a business.
Right.
But they should make it. They're calling it fair, but fair and equitable are two different things, So you can't fairly judge someone's equity in something, is what they're doing. And that's what's going on right now with like the cannabis industry. Everyone's being shut out, and the only people that are coming in and being able to take advantage of this new regulated market are people that can afford to pay and play. A lot of times it's different millionaire corporations. And what I personally don't appreciate happening is, a lot of people getting up and are talking about social injustice, which has happened before, but it seems like people that were disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs are retired pro athletes.
Yeah,
because they're the ones that are getting all the permits, throughout the state of California. And so it's not the people that are actually impacted by the war on drugs, the people on the streets, people on the ground. And it's supposed to be equitable for everyone, but it's really not. What they've done is just not what it was intended to do.
If I could ask you one thing, the mainstream media and our politicians, of course, have done a great job at making it seem like Prop 64 has been a benefit to the community. And of course, this is something that we should be applauding about. Why is that not true?
Well, because there are two um, cannabis worlds. Okay, let me say a world, because there's the cannabis user, which is the person that is using cannabis, and that's all they do is just use it.
Mhm.
And they go buy whatever they buy and whatever they use, medically or recreationally, however, but they're only users. They don't grow, they don't process, they have a job, they're a mechanic or a painter or
Yeah.
a lawyer or an
Me,
accountant.
I guess.
Yeah, a person that's not in the industry, basically, regular person that's not in the industry, and is just a user.
Right.
And then you also have the other second part, which is the industry itself. People like Heidi, people like me, people that are from the industry, that have built the industry over the past, I've been involved in the legal cannabis industry in 12 years. But when I stepped in, uh, there were people that were there 15, 20 years before I was. And they were the OGs. They still are. The Eddie Leps, the Jack Harris,
Yeah.
those folks. Bill McPike, for example, even my attorney here in Fresno, Bill McPike, been in the industry 30 years, advocated since back in '96. And then there's people like myself who've been in the industry for the past 10 years. We built the industry ourselves. We advocated. We opened businesses. We ran it. We built it. We brought it here. We advocated for regulations, for safe. That's what I did. I went around the state of California with their various different jurisdictions and advocated for regulation of the industry. I was telling the city governor, the city mayors and council members, whoever I was having meetings with, that, hey, what's going on right now in the industry is not right. We need to regulate the market so that way people can have safe access to cannabis. So those are the two things that make up cannabis world right now:
Okay.
the user and the industry.
Right.
Prop 64 for the user, the person that's just using cannabis, has been wonderful. It's been fantastic. It's freely available anywhere. You can order it, and have it delivered to your house. You can go to a dispensary if you live in certain areas and buy your desired weed, cannabis. Use it however you want. You can buy the flower, the vape pens, the edibles, they got all kinds of beautiful stuff right now on the market.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. And so if you're a user, Prop 64 has been magnificent.
Right.
And but if you're a business, you're the industry, like myself, Heidi, Daryl and others, this is bad for us, because what the cities have done is they have got the industry and they have over-regulated it.
Right.
Over-regulated it. They have so regulated that for an ordinary person that doesn't have a background of some law or some college or some bank account, they won't qualify for one of these permits. They will put you on the same playing field as a millionaire group that has $100 million in the backing and tell you, hey, Governor Wildstar, it's a fair process.
Yeah.
These two guys are fairly we're judging them fairly. We're looking at their applications the same way. We're giving them the same type of grade. Like, it's a fair process. But are you really judging it fairly? Is it really fair? Because you're putting me on the track. Imagine this for a second. You're putting me on a track and you're telling me to run this 100-yard dash with Usain Bolt, a retired Usain Bolt, a retired Jerry Rice even, okay? Now, me, I've never played football. My knees hurt and I can't run anything. You know what I mean? I can't run that much, that fast. And you're telling me that, hey, George, if you can win this race with retired Jerry Rice, fair and square, you'll get your goal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but come, are you look at who you got me? You know,
Yeah.
there's no way I'm gonna beat this guy. Like, how is that even fair?
Exactly. If I could just say, that's not fair for customers either, or users, if that's what they're called. But I look at it more so as a customer and a supplier type of issue. You know what I'm saying? Since you're a business owner, and that's pretty much what it is, a transaction between someone that wants to buy a product and those that are providing that product. So as a provider, I want there to be as many different options as possible. You know, for me as a buyer, as a customer, the more different options available to me, the better. And not only that, but it also creates a market to where now they have to be price wise in order to earn my buck. So
Well, what you're describing there, you're describing the American way.
exactly.
That's what you're describing. You're describing the free market economy. You're describing, the Amazon, Etsy, all these big companies, Jeff Bezos, and if all these people had to jump through all these hoops that we jump through, we would never have Amazon. We would never have eBay. We would never have IBM. We would never have all these big names because all these people started on the floor just like we do. And to your point about having the competition, I was in Beverly Hills the other day visiting a dispensary of a friend of mine that owns, and they're selling a $200 ounce of outdoor weed. I just, to your point about the user having the variety of choices of things that now, where's the compassion there?
Yeah.
$200 for an ounce of outdoor, not greenhouse or light dep or indoor. I don't know if you know the differences in those, but there's different, varieties and strains.
Yeah.
Not the, but the outdoor is I'm like, Jesus Christ, and that's why the market is where it is because these jurisdictions
Right.
have created a monopoly, and they've given this monopoly to only their selected few. And these selected few can come in and they can set the price of whatever they want, however they want, and you don't have another choice. As an American, I want to have another choice.
Exactly. If I may ask, Heidi, with regards to what George is talking about, the limitation of choices that's available to customers, how has, I guess, as a business person, what is your experience in the industry, and how has Prop 64 limited that amount of choice that's available, choice of products that's available to consumers? Are you there?
Well, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with George in, every way. I'm actually an alumni of George's 420 College. So, yeah, we pretty much think along the same wavelength. One of my biggest concerns, I was one of the largest network of collectives in the state of California, and until I was raided, arrested, thrown in jail, and I eventually won my case at trial. But the problem I'm having is the state taking money before they do reparation and repair the harm that they have caused. I had over 365 collectives. 2 of them have a license. So you're talking about your moms and your pops and anybody that just wants to be a part of their culture have been canceled. So there's a cannabis culture cancel happening now. And I think a really important thing too is if we can fix 64 is tort reform. I have a $90 million claim in Yuba County that I'm currently litigating, and they're saying my statute of limitations, and part of the problem we used to have with the sheriffs is they would come in what we called a smash and grab. So they would come in, raid you, take all your property, trash your house, and they would say, okay, well, you can have, they have 2 years to file a case and press charges against you. It's something that you weren't even doing illegally, just because it was cannabis. So they can give you a criminal case, or you can file a tort claim, right? You can't file a tort claim because they'll immediately file a criminal charge against you. So we have not been able to successfully recover when we do go to trial and we do win and we don't plea out, because these people weren't breaking the law. There was no due process. We have no due process, none whatsoever. And that has to change. Like right now, currently, you are allowed to have a 5-patient. So if my doctor says I need 250 outdoor plants, which he state that in my trial, then I am allowed to grow for 4 other people. That's, over 1,500 plants. But if I went and did that, what's going to happen? I'm going to get thrown back in jail. And they're going to take everything I have. They took single thing. I can't even work in the business because I have been slandered and defamed by mainstream media and calling me an illegal criminal, calling me this and that. And the record shows otherwise. So I mean, if I wanted to go get another job in the legal industry, just Google my name. I'm a criminal. I was selling churches. I was doing this and that. And that is just not true. So, and if you want to find more about the truth about what happened on that, Joseph Tully has a podcast on Everyday Injustice with David Greenwald. And that is a really good outlet and resource of what corruption is currently happening with the DAs, the judges, how they're all protecting each other, right? And the sheriffs. That is my number one concern, is law enforcement and due process. That is a huge problem. And I read a little bit about what happened to you, and I was I can agree with you more. That was if I was going to be.
Go ahead.
I think I lost you for a minute. Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
No, I said I couldn't agree with you more because of what happened to me. A lot of people, taxpayers, we pay into the system and we just trust that it works. When we trust in the officials that hold those positions in law enforcement, in government. But of course, when you're involved in some type of incident, where they're involved, you end up finding firsthand just how difficult it is, just how frustrating it is, and just how unorganized it is. Like you were talking about, you're entrusting in the law enforcement system to, of course, uphold the law. So when they don't, then what do? You can't turn to a higher up and expect them to do something. And that's what's wrong with our body of government right now, is there is no accountability. They feel like they're above the law. And of course, taxpayers, we end up footing the bill every step of the way. So when people talk about criminal justice reform, to me, it's very broad. Like you said, it should include tort reform, because it does affect a lot of people, regardless of your skin color, regardless of your economic status. The laws system that exists doesn't really benefit those people that are not part of it.
You can't really have, I'll tell you like this, man, you can't really have criminal justice reform without solving this cannabis issue in California, at least. Let me tell you why. Because if you are, for example, let's say you do this industry the way it is, and with Prop 64, you allow every jurisdiction to control their own city, and you allow them to create their own rules and allow who they want to allow to run a business. What you're doing is you're putting it in the hands of just a couple of people. So like Fresno and Mendota and over here in Central Valley, you're looking like a hero because, hey, we're allowing cannabis in our city. Hey, we've licensed 1 or 2 businesses, but what you're doing is you're putting the rest of the people out in the cold. The rest of the people, like before Prop 64, we had Proposition 215 as a defense. We had the collective law as a defense. We had different things that we could go to court with and fight against. What they're trying to do to us. If they come and shut you down or whatever, you can go to court and have defenses. Well, what Prop 64 has done is it got rid of those defenses. So now if you don't have a license from the city, you are not operating as a collective. You can't even bring that up as a defense in court because he doesn't operate that way anymore. Now you are criminal. Right. So, and if you're allowing only 2 people or 4 people or 10 people to operate, like in Los Angeles, you only allow 100 or 200 social equity applications, and only 3 people have been approved so far in the last 3 years.
Right.
It's ridiculous. So what happens to the rest of those people in LA? So no one in LA, 14 million people that live in that city. Out of 14 million people, you're only licensing 100?
Yeah, that's really not fair at all.
Like but what you've done is, though, here's the thing though, what you're not realizing is that what you've done is you've made those people into bona fide criminals, because now they don't even have Prop 215 the collective model as a defense.
Mm-hmm.
Prop 215 is still there, but they've gutted it so much that you can't even use it as a defense. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving people advice or anything like that. But I'm just saying what people did before Prop 64 and what we can do now.
Right.
After Prop 64.
Well, it creates the black market that people fear so much, is when you have bad laws that disable people from running an honest business, as they should be able to. Like you said, the American dream. If I want to, start my own business and be an entrepreneur, and I have the means to, then government shouldn't be in the way of that in any way, shape, or form. And it's sad that you have a lot of people still that are supportive of some type of restriction or regulation in some sort of way, versus it being, like fruits and vegetables, it being sold to us in such a way, it's not treated as a cash crop, just as that is. So I wanted to ask you guys, because I made a comment about Prop 64. I'm trying to bring it up on Twitter, and I think Daryl Cotton had shared the article, and the author had responded to a comment I made about nullifying Prop 64. He pretty much said he still supports some sort of reform of 64, but because it's the law of the land, that we should let it stand. But a few things I think he probably doesn't understand is, one, as governor, you have executive power just like a president, so you can nullify any law, especially when it does actually conflict with the real law of the land, which is the Constitution. So your constitutional rights, if there's a law on the book, which really a statute or whatever the case may be, can be nullified if it conflicts, so that's what nullification of 64 would be about, is because it violates your right, like you said, to start a business. That's your God-given inalienable right,
Well, I was going to add, not just start the business, but there's something that people haven't really thought about, and I've thought about it. I did some research, is that, like you say, your right to start a business, but what people don't really talk about is your right, like when you fail at something. Okay, when you open a business and you work hard and you achieve something with your business, you make money. Right. That's your reward. So your reward is you made money, and you learned a lot of things on the way, and that's great. But there is reward in failure. And the reward in failure is the lessons that you learned while you failed, or what not to do.
Right.
Which aren't financial. It's not money, but it's not financial, but it's still a reward. Yeah. And it's a greater reward. Yeah. And for somebody to deny me of the reward of failure. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I should have the right to succeed and the right to fail, because there's two sides to life success, right? There's success and there's also failure. Failure is a part of success. You can't succeed unless you failed before. I mean, you could, but failure is it's all part of success, is what I'm saying. And for someone to deny me the right to fail,
exactly,
and to learn a valuable lesson of what I should not have done, that's a violation of, I feel like it's a violation of my rights, because it's a violation of growth. It's still equity,
right?
Because here's the thing, they're saying that the way they're making it so hard is that, like, they would create a regulation and say, okay, you got to prove how much money you got in the bank. You have made a business plan, and your business plan says that you need $1 million to complete this project from A to Z. A to Z. Nothing left in between. You're like, yeah, okay, I did. Well, you have to show you have $1 million liquid in the bank. You're like, but come on now, like, a lot of businesses don't even start out that way.
Yeah.
You don't have everything from A to Z. You have A, B, C, D, and then you get into the E, F, G, and you keep building that way. That's kind of how businesses work.
Exactly. It's kind of what Daryl Cotton just said here, as far as having the responsibility to repeal it on the grounds that, for-profit recreational enterprise. It's contradictory, and that's what a lot of people don't realize, is when you look at the language of some of these laws that they're signing, it's very misleading, and the devil's in the details. And in that fine print, you end up finding out it does still criminalize the regular person, or the unlicensed businesses. And I don't think any business should have to obtain a license in order to, go into business, because, like you said, the consumer is going to dictate if that business makes it
stay alive. Yeah,
exactly. Because if the customers keep coming, then of course the business is going to grow. If they stop coming, then the business is going to fail. And so Heidi, I want to jump you in on this conversation with regards to what I was saying about this author here about Prop 64, because he did make a comment here. Again, I let him know that I would nullify it. He says, I appreciate you reaching out. I don't support nullifying 64. I support reform of 64 for a new ballot initiative that gets legalization right. The legislature has the power to do that. I want a leader who will commit with working with our industry and our community. So to his words and to his understanding, it's better for the people of the community to have Prop 64 reformed rather than nullifying it altogether. Based on your experience with, the law system, which do you think would be best?
I think would be, in my personal opinion, I think there are a lot of things that in Prop 64 that would work right, but there are the certain things that we do have to get rid of and we have to change. Some of the things that we got to, if you're talking about just reforming it, which would be a lot easier than just nullifying or writing something brand new, I agree with that too. If you want to reform it, that would be a lot faster, because there are just certain things in there that don't work for the system, for us, the people. For example, one of the things that you can get rid of right off the bat when you get in is the each jurisdiction being able to control how many licenses or how many people that they choose to get in business.
Mm-hmm.
That is what has created the inequality in the industry, and that is what has put people into criminals. I'll bring you an example. Like, for example, tobacco and alcohol. Tobacco and alcohol, they're not legal per se. They are controlled.
Right.
Now, if you want to open up a liquor store and you want to sell tobacco, it's very easy. You go to the the California Department of Tax and Administration. You pay them a $300 or $60 or whatever fee that they have, and now you can sell cigarettes and tobacco products out of your retail store and pay taxes on that and collect taxes on that. I'm sorry. Same with alcohol. If you want to open a bar or a liquor, place that sells liquor, restaurant or any kind of a place, you can get into that. A lot of jurisdictions that don't give out any more permits, for example, but you can buy someone's permit that's available. You can move it. There's things like that that's available. But in this industry, we don't have that type of freedom is what we need. It's because this industry has, think of it as a tree. We've been growing this way for so long, and now you're coming and you just want to chop it off completely and start with a brand new tree. And we are the fruit on that tree that's dying. And we're just saying that, hey, let's not cut this tree. If you want to grow a second tree, that's fine. But let's not cut this tree because we don't want to die. And it seems like your new tree, we can't jump on that because you're not it's not the way you writ the rules. You're not allowing us. So reforming it would probably be a lot easier and a lot, faster to accomplish. Just fixing the things that are wrong with it or improving it would probably be the best.
All right. And Heidi, did you want to add to that?
Yeah. I mean, I think we should reform. We have to do something. Something has to happen. Like we have, third, fourth generation OG farmers out of business, driving for Uber, whatever it is they're doing now. If we could give reparations and also do maybe some court reform, that would be great too. Because like in my case, in 99% of cannabis cases that people caught a charge, nobody has the opportunity to go to trial. It costs money. You have to take time off work. You have to know what you're doing. So I did my case in pro per and I brought my attorney in. And who has that opportunity to do that? What high school graduate knows how to represent themselves in court? They all should know how. And they all should have opportunities when they're accused of cannabis crimes. And that should be reformed. That should be, a reparation that would benefit many, many, many families, benefit the farmers and the community. And it really, really needs, something has to happen. It really does. Like whatever way we can make it work, we got to make it work. And I'm a true believer in miracles. And, I'm hoping you're our miracle here.
I would love to.
Whatever way we get it done, let's just get it done. It doesn't really, yeah. So, even the educational reform, it's like the Tulsa. I never heard of it, right? I never even heard of that until Elizabeth Warren brought that out. And I just, there's so many things that, our younger generations are unaware of. So I'm hoping that, repealing or nullifying 64, it really needs to happen. And now, like I had a phone call this morning. People still call me for consulting on licensing. And it's like, well, do you have $2 million in your pocket? Because that's the first, token you need to get in.
Oh my God.
And it's just going to go up from there. So it's really sad. Even what's happening.
That's why
I do consulting too still, and barely, and people call me, every day or every other day about, hey, George, you do consulting still? I'm like, yeah, I still do. They're like, okay, hey man, can you consult with me? Tell me what do I need to get into business? And I get into telling them about what they need. And they're like, well, can you tell me what's going to prevent me from getting, will they deny the license? And if they deny it, on what grounds will they deny it? And I said, okay, well, you want to open up what now? A cultivation. Okay, let's see. You're going to need $1.5 million in the bank. And if you don't have that, kiss that license goodbye, just like this. I go, don't even apply. And they think I'm being rude. They think I'm being very rude and very, but I'm not being rude. I'm just being truthful. I'm just letting you know, hey, bro, if you don't, what about a dispensary, George? What if I want to open a dispensary? Have a $500,000 in the bank, 500 grand will get you a dispensary. And it won't get you a dispensary just about anywhere you want either. It will be just a certain areas, one or two little cities, if that, if we're lucky. And it might take about a year and a half. It might take about a year and a half. And you might be in competition with Michael Jordan. I don't know if he's getting in the cannabis industry too.
Yeah, and that's another thing. People don't realize that, that's another form of redlining, that's happening with our cannabis industry and what they're doing with this whole delegation of these licenses in order for you to be able to open a business. My perspective on it and my approach is more so to come in as an abolitionist. I think we need to clear the playing field, just clear the field, start from scratch, because it's all wrong. Localize it, give people on the local level control over what happens. Government is involved in that. Government shouldn't be involved in the dictation of how apples are grown. They shouldn't be dictating how marijuana is grown, or cannabis for that matter. So if you eliminate their involvement, now you don't have to worry about acquiring a license. You don't have to worry about Prop 64. You don't have to worry about any of that.
I think to eliminate the government's role. I think if you eliminate government's role completely, I'm not sure if you'll have that sale. I mean, you got my back for that, but I don't think a lot of people would. I think what would you have to basically, like you said, give it back to the people in a way that you have to remind the government and local jurisdictions that this is America, and that in America we have a free market economy. Let people get in business. Let people. Let them, create the rules, but don't make the rules so ridiculous that a regular person can't get into it. But don't limit the permits. You cannot limit that's where the problem comes in, is when they're limiting these permits. They're saying only 2 or 3 people can have them, and that's it.
And that's what I'm saying. As governor, I would come in and eliminate the permit issuance. The need for that. I would eliminate the licensure. You see? So now it really is about free market, because the only way you're going to be able to make it as a business is if you put in the time, the work, the wherewithal, everything to make it happen, versus government dictating that based on how much money you have to acquire that license. Government dictating if you have enough money to even receive a permit, you were saying, it eliminates the government's involvement from that. So that's what I'm saying, is if we try out that structure, well, that's a big comment there. If we try out that structure just for a year, because so Prop 64 has been in effect since 2018. Prop 215 before that. So we're here now in 2021. We've had this pandemic with all of these lockdowns, and government control. So if we, for the next year, because in this recall election, whoever the new governor is that gets, that unseats Newsom, they'll only have a year in office before we have another governor's election next year. So they'll have to make dramatic changes to the state of California, to make us all happy and excite us to want to vote for that candidate again come next year. So what's the best way to do that, and make people in the cannabis industry happy, as well as customers? Because like I said, I go to buy weed and there's like $30 in taxes, extra taxes. It's like, what the hell is going on here? And then they break down the taxes and what it's going to, and I never agreed to any of that, and right now during this pandemic, the best way to jumpstart our economy and stimulate it is by letting people have more money of their own money in their pockets. I think people could benefit from that as well as businesses, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah, a lot of people would benefit. Businesses would benefit. It would be a right move to do. We gotta make sure that the rest of the state agrees with that. I mean, I'm all for doing all that, man. I think this whole thing has been from the gate. I mean, it makes me feel.
Well, you still say get the state on board. Governor calls the shots, my man. Once it's done, it's done. The state just gonna have to get on board. Now the people of the state, I'm pretty sure, are going to be A-okay with it. It's state officials, the people that benefit from it being a closed market, they're going to, complain about it. But I don't care about those guys, I care about you.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question off topic. It's off topic, actually. It's a little on topic, but it could. So you know Senate Bill 519?
What's that?
Senate Bill. Have you heard of Senate Bill 519? 519?
A pill or something?
Oh yeah.
No, Senate Bill 519. SB. No. It's the decriminalization of MDMA and mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms. So it passed House. It's sitting in front of Governor right now, Governor Newsom. The people that are very, the proponents of this bill, the people that want it to pass, are all saying that the governor is not going to sign it this year. How do you feel about something like that?
I plan on decriminalizing the state of California on day one in office. So if such a thing was on my desk, I would sign it. If not, I plan on having it there on day one. I think California should be like Oregon right now. Oregon decriminalized. Right. If anything, we should be like Portugal right now, who since 2001 has been
but we have the for-profit prison industry. We have the judges that need jobs. We have the prison. We have the CEOs that need work.
We're going to start them.
But we have the prohibition industry, that alcohol industry. We have a lot of that. That's why we've been battling so much, is because of all this the prohibitions, and I think the Prop 64, what it did was it finally figured out for the government how to make money on taxation of cannabis, and also how to make money on prohibition of cannabis. Right. Because they haven't got rid of prohibition altogether.
You're right.
It's still there. People are still getting raided, are still going to jail, but now they're making millions of dollars in taxes too. Right. So it's a win-win for them as far as the government's concerned, on the backs of us, on backs of people.
Yeah, and that needs to stop, which is why minimizing the size of government and how much money it's operating off of is another priority of mine. I think it could be ran much smoother on a leaner, meaner, budget. So I, as governor, currently right now, Gavin Newsom gets paid, I believe, $170,000 plus in his role as governor. So I plan on reducing that salary to just $60,000. That's actually the median income for the state of California. So I will be taking that salary, and I'll be making sure any new state employee, or every state employee, salary is reduced to that much. I will not be receiving any pension, and any new state employee will not be receiving any pension either. I plan on actually liquidating our state pension program because it's digging us deeper into debt, and the people receiving that, they are uneasy because they want to know what type of money they have to work with. I've spoke with pension recipients, and really they just want a flat dollar amount, because it's up in the air. And if the state ever goes broke, we can't pay those people. So just pay them out a dollar amount so we can get out of the red. Right now we have a deficit, in the state of California. While the governor talking about we have a budget surplus, we don't. That's just extra money that we have from the federal government in emergency funds. you know. So we want to enrich the people of California and make sure that they're living wealthy lives, they're living prosperous lives, and they're living lives that aren't impeded in any way by state government. If anything, the government is this big, you know, I want to break it down to about here and see how we, the people of California, like it before we minimize it any further. But I think just by making those minor changes within my first day of office for that first year, the people of California can see how they like it. And if they like it, then hopefully they'll re-elect me in 2022. My job as governor is to keep state officials in line. So you're right. If they're upset with what's going on or want to sue people like Heidi and drag them off to jail, then I'm going to be arresting those individuals. And we're going to make sure that restitution towards victims of the legal system do get, you know, some type of compensation for their pain and suffering, because she's absolutely right. You know, there's too many people that have been, have lost property, have lost money, have lost, you know, time with their families, you know, things that are priceless to them. And how can we ever repay that, you know? So the best way is to, again, make sure that we're addressing those people that have suffered some sort of a loss, and reform the system to where the next person that comes along, the next generation, won't have to worry about it at all. All of those people that are calling you for consultation, the best way for you to address it is to say, hey, just fill out this form. It's all free. You can go online, you know, it's easy. And, you know, it's a piece of cake for them. That would be better, right?
That would be America. That would be America.
Right.
That would be America. That wouldn't be the I feel like there's America and then there's the cannabis industry. Two different things.
Right.
Two different things. Well, whenever I hear about people, you know, in other businesses, or I have other businesses too, I'm like, man, this is so beautiful. Look how easy stuff is. I mean, you just walk in anywhere and just get your permit and pick up the phone and call anyone and take care of your taxes. Or it's so you get to cannabis, it's Jesus, it's the end of the world.
Right.
You have $1 million, you don't have it. No, you get to sit over there. And here's the thing that really burns me up. Here's the thing that really burns me up is the fact that there are people that riding on the backs of Black and Hispanic people that were disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs, that were specifically targeted by local jurisdictions because of the war on drugs, riding on the backs of those people, getting permits, those social equity permits themselves, and then turning their backs around on those same people and walking out and saying, well, I get the permit, but you don't.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with this too, because social equity and Black and brown people that were disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs are not NBA players. They're just regular people that are on the streets every day. I asked the people that were social justice warriors, I asked them like this, hey, do you believe that every single Black person should walk into City Hall and get a permit right now? And you know what their answer is? No one says yes. Their answer is no, because it can't be like that. They have to limit these permits. And I'm like, no, they can't. If you're talking about social equity, if you're talking about war on drugs, if you're talking about people that were impacted by the war on drugs, you're talking about all Black people.
Right.
I'm talking all Black people. If you're Black, you should walk into any city hall and get a permit, period. Because you were impacted by the war on drugs. If you didn't go to jail, your cousin went to jail. Your uncle went to jail. Your family member somebody was impacted in your family. And so you were impacted because of that. And you should be able to get your piece of the pie, which is equity, the social equity. That's what social equity is. It's the piece of the pie.
Exactly.
If you're Black, if you're Hispanic,
if
you're Black, if you're Hispanic, you should be able to walk into any city hall and get a cannabis permit to operate whenever you want. You shouldn't have to be sitting there competing with some superstar.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you this too. One of my close friends, Alex, told me something the other day. We're evaluating things over here because we're in Fresno. We're competing against some retired.
We're gonna have to hang out, man. I'm in Fresno too.
Oh, you should read Fresno Bee's op-ed I wrote this morning. I got published in Fresno Bee's op-ed this morning. You should read that.
Okay.
So we're competing with Matt Garza and Al Harrington for our social equity permit. One of the people that's on our organization with us, his name is Alex Banda. Spent half his life in jail. Graduated Fresno State in June. I'll tell you that much. Spent half his life in jail and graduated Fresno State in June. This past June.
All right.
This month, I mean, May. This barely graduation. Yeah. He's telling me, he's like, man, when did Matt Garza win the World Series? I'm like, I'm looking at the thing. He says 2008. So he won the ALCS MVP in 2008 and won the World Series with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in 2008. He's like, man, where was I in 2008? He's thinking. He's like, oh, I was in Wasco doing a 10-month violation for a blunt roach that they found in a car that I wasn't even driving.
Oh, damn.
So now he's in competition with Matt Garza for the social equity permit that is meant for people like him.
Right.
You feel me?
That's ridiculous.
That's what's going on in Fresno right now.
To receive that, you know?
You feel me? So that's what's going on in Fresno right now. And you should look into the Fresno Bees op-ed that I wrote Sunday morning today. Fresno City. Yeah, I was in the,
and I'll post it up here.
I spoke at the city council meeting on Thursday because
thank you.
I told them, I was like, hey, listen, this is not, I go, this is a scam. I go, this is a rigged process. This isn't fair. You guys are requiring all applicants to have $400,000 in the bank on paper, requiring all applicants on paper to have 400 grand in the bank and to be low income. And you're putting us in a competition with these people that are millionaires. Matt Garza applied for 3 social equity permits in Fresno. Al Harrington and his team applied for 4 social equity permits in Fresno. And the People's Dispensary, which is backed by a millionaire group out of Oakland, is called the People's Dispensary. They applied for 4 social equity permits.
Wow.
So all these millionaire groups and all these pro athletes are riding on the backs of people that were impacted by the war on drugs and not even fighting for them right now that they're applied for their permits. And yeah, if I sound upset, I am upset. That's because I've been here for 10, 12 years fighting for this. You know what I mean? I've been here 10, 12 years fighting for this. And right now, they disqualified me because I complained about it.
Wow.
I wrote a letter to the mayor. I wrote a letter to the mayor of Fresno and the city council in Fresno, and I told them that this is not a fair process and this is rigged. You guys should look into this. And the Fresno's Cannabis Commission disqualified my application because by rule, you cannot contact an elected official. Right. So my concern, which was to fight for social justice and social equality, got me disqualified from a social equity permit application that I fought for 12 years. You understand?
Now, see, how do we hold them accountable for?
You don't. You don't. There's nothing you can do. There is nothing you can do, my friend. I have a stipulation from 2010. I got sued by the city of Fresno in 2009 to shut down my collective, my dispensary that I had. And I signed a stipulation in 2010 because I sued them back. My stipulation says that as long as I promise to not operate a marijuana business in the city of Fresno, as long as cannabis is illegal in the city of Fresno, but as soon as the law changes, I don't have to follow that law and my stipulation anymore. So I made an announcement in front of city council that I was reopening my collective from 2009.
All right.
Under my stipulation.
As you should.
And I'm not going to participate in this rigged process that they have going on.
Good. Don't. Continue
and
to
I'm not,
we need to be.
That's crazy.
You shouldn't be criminal.
I've contacted some attorneys. I'm waiting to hear back. but I'm not going to take this laying down. They're going to disqualify me over unfair practice that they did, and I called it out, and they're going to disqualify me for that too. I mean, how much more rigged can this process get?
Exactly.
And now, what's that?
No, I believe Heidi was saying.
I was just going to say, it's just, yeah, how these, like, let's say Calaveras County, for example, and Yolo County's kind of going there too, where they pulled out $9 million out of the community for the permit, right? The application process, and then ban next year. So you have farmers who lost millions and millions. The community itself lost $9 million to the county, and nobody does anything about it because no attorney wants to take that on and commit career suicide, right? They don't want to do it. So we just think, it needs to be across the board. I mean, yes, have your local issues that, affect your community, but it should be across the board. It shouldn't be banned. It should be banned to be banned, So, and another thing I think George was saying too was, sometimes when you fail, you win, right? And so I just want to put it out there, like, please keep going. Even if you don't get elected, just please keep going.
I will do
because if you fail, you're gonna win. So I just hope that you don't on this and just keep going till the day you die, because people like you need to be running things, not, like the county officials I have here. I just don't even want to get into that. But and I really like what you said too about the salaries. Some of the staffs in these counties are making $300,000 and spending millions of dollars trying to eliminate people like myself who are for social reform, social equity. Let's clean up the homeless problem. When I was graded and arrested, I had negative $4,000. I was making a ton of money, but I kept giving it back to my community. And I ended up with a $2 billion lien.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
So
I would love to eliminate that for you and give you some.
And George, I appreciate you having me on.
Sure. Pleasure indeed. Pleasure speaking with both of you. And I'm in this to win it. I mean, I'm not in this to be rich or famous. I'm in this to really follow through for we the people, because I believe that that's what we need the most right now from our elected officials. It's just somebody true to form, You can be a superstar just by doing your job, And it's sad that a lot of these politicians that get into office campaign on wanting to help the underserved people in the community, the underrepresented, and then they get elected and then they could care less. We just see a complete opposite in that. And to me, since I'm part of that, I also feel the sting of it. When George was talking about how he felt about, being ripped the opportunity for social equity, I feel that because I'm part of that community and I would benefit from that also, So if anything, I feel like we all need some vindication here, which is why I'm asking everyone to please band together. If we can just band together this one time, put all of political party idealism aside or any prejudices or whatever the case may be, focus on the one true thing that we want, which is freedom. Freedom for all of us. If we can focus on doing that and do some collective bargaining or something, then we can beat Newsom, because with this recall election, it's winner takes all, and I can win with the plurality. So a little bit over 30% will get me into office. And all we really need is just to have a strong ground game, get my name out there, let people know, of course, who they should be voting for versus, what the TV and the mainstream media tells them. So I'm doing my best to pound the pavement right now. Get my name out there. I went out there to meet with Cotton and made a video about 151 Farms, but the mainstream media, of course, completely ignored the event, didn't show up at all, didn't cover it. And that's going to continue to happen over the next few months because the establishment wants to control the narrative. You know, they want the focus to be on John Cox and Caitlyn Jenner and, you know, Kevin Faulconer, the old mayor of San Diego, you know, who had an issue with these permits, you know, lottery also. I think I heard a few stories about how he got rich off of it, you know, and was making it difficult. So if we want to be able to counter them, then we pretty much just have to position ourselves on that ballot to, again, make sure that we're getting the candidate that we want to be elected. And so far, I haven't met any other candidate that I would vote for if I wasn't running. So, you know, just me being honest with you guys, if I wasn't running for office, there's no candidate running for governor in this recall election that I would vote for. And I'm not saying that just because I feel like I'm the best person running. That's just the honest to God truth. I have a son, I have a wife, I have a family. We love it here in Fresno, where we just moved 2 years ago. We would love to stay here in California, just like, you know, the other families that are being chased away because of job loss and, you know, lack of opportunity and schools being closed. You know what I mean? So if we want to get our lives back on track as soon as possible, again, we got one chance to make this happen with this recall election, and if we do, we can certainly make a shift in that forever. Because 1 year in office, you guys, I'm gonna nullify all of that. What you talking about? You have my word, and I'm beholden to you. So if I don't do what I say in that first year, I'm giving you no reason to re-elect me in 2022, right? You can be like, Wildstar lied, he got in there, and he didn't do it. So, but I plan on making you proud again if given the opportunity. Thank you guys for being here. I would love to sit down and talk with you more. You have my contact information, but if you don't, please definitely reach out to me and I'll provide it to you. And but yeah, let's definitely keep in touch. George, since you live in Fresno, I definitely would love to meet you in person. And
yeah, that's what I was gonna say, man. My office is we're right on Ashland and between Fresno and the 41.
All right.
Yeah, you got my phone number too, I
believe.
I
was about to say, I think Cotton gave me your number, so I just lost him. But he did share his Fresno Bee article, you guys. I'm going to share that with you one time here. Heidi, thank you so much for being here also. I truly appreciate you taking time out of your morning to speak with me.
Yeah, and I'm also violating a court order to not encourage anyone to smoke, use, or possess or grow cannabis.
Right.
So, but thank you again. Thank you so much.
Damn those federales. We'll fix that. keep living free. Thank you very much, you guys. God bless you and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, guys. Take care, man.
All right. Thank you. All right, you guys, that again was my panel of guests, Heidi and George, for this community Q&A discussion, talking about repealing Prop 64 and doing everything that we can to make sure that we are returning social equity back to the people of the community versus those special interest groups that continue to control the politicians that, give out these permits and all of that other stuff. They're giving it to the rich people. It's the rich people keeping the rich people rich. So if you want to end the crony capitalism, everybody that say they're against capitalism, nothing's wrong with capitalism. You just saw two capitalists right here on this show, and they're just regular people trying to earn a living for themselves. What we do not like is the cronyism that has prevented people like them from being able to expand and grow, criminalizing them because of that, and keeping people like me, the taxpayers of California, in a position where we feel like our hands are tied in having any say in what happens with our state government. So please, let's definitely change this right here in the state of California by electing Wildstar for governor. Thank you again, Stephen, for being here. And thank you for the donation. My man, Stephen, contributed to the Wildstar campaign. And if you guys would like to also, please visit my website, wildstar2022.com, right there at the bottom of the screen. Make a donation today if you can, as soon as you can, because like I was telling those guys, we have a small window of opportunity creeping up here with this recall election, which looks like it's going to happen sometime in August. So if we want to make sure that Wildstar is on the ballot, I'm trying to hit that $5,000 needed, or actually it's like $3,500 to get on the ballot. So I need that. And then an extra $1,200, $1,500 or whatever to get a statement in the voter book. Believe it or not, they charge about $25 per word to get a statement in the voter handbook that they're going to be sending out to all of the voters in the state of California. And I want to make sure that I'm in that voter handbook, because you got a lot of people that still rely upon that for information. So I don't want to turn away any opportunity that's, again, going to get me more votes. And the best way for me to get more votes is to be on the ballot. I cannot do that if I do not have the funds to do so. So please make a contribution to the Wildstar campaign today by heading over to wildstar2022.com. Every little bit helps, and that's going to help me get onto the ballot, okay? When's your next debate? Today, 3:30 today on the Yes California YouTube channel, so please check that out. If you're not following me on social media, please do so, because I'll be dropping information about that today, sometime today. So if you want the details to that debate, definitely follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff, as you can see right there at the bottom of your screen. Big money, yes indeed. All that, we need it. $2,500 for 100 words. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I I paid about $1,100 last time. I choose my words wisely. So, but yes, $25 a word. Thank you so much again. I'm honored to have been on the show. Oh, thank you, Heidi. The pleasure was all mine. God bless you. And I definitely would like to do, as I said, and have a chance to vindicate you, vindicate George, vindicate all of the people that have lost in some sort of a way to our state government and its overbearing, governance. It's definitely unlawful. It's unconstitutional. And it's immoral. We need somebody in office that's going to hold our state officials accountable. I'm the only guy that's going to be able to do that. Trust and believe. But if you give me the opportunity, I will definitely, as I said, show and prove in that first year as to why I should be reelected governor in 2022. So help me out in getting elected by heading on over to my website, wildstar2022.com. Donate, share the wealth, spread the knowledge, let other people know that I'm running for governor of California. That's free. It doesn't cost a dime. So if you don't want to make a contribution at this time, but still want to help me out, just spread the word and let other people know about my campaign for California governor. So I will be coming back with another roundtable discussion, hopefully with the new group of guests or this one. But I'm pretty sure there's more that you guys would like to talk about. So if you do have any suggestions as to what we could discuss here, or if you would like to join in on that discussion, just contact me. Head on over to my website, wildstar2022.com, and you can fill out the contact form and, share all of your questions and concerns and statements with me, and I will be responding to you soon. So, yeah, here's my new background, Wildstar. Yay. All right, you guys, I'm going to get out of here because I do have that debate at 3:30 p.m. and I got to get ready for that. So thank you guys for your time. Thank you, Jack B. No, it's 1 o'clock. All right, so the debate starts at 1, but I'm on the 3:30 panel. So my group of candidates doesn't come in until 3:30. So last week they had a debate, and because there were so many, they did 2 panels. I got an opportunity to be in the first panel of groups last week. This week I'm in the second panel. So you can catch my panel of candidates at 3:30, okay? All right, Jack B. He will be there. Thank you, my friend. And thank you to all of you for all of the wonderful comments and for being here, of course, for tuning in. So please share this video with others. Let's spread the word and let's bring back liberty to the state of California. All right, you guys. Till next time, long live liberty. Peace.